And on this training, we have Dan Platta from Blue Skies Bookkeeping.
It's the funnest place to do accounting online for sure.
That's what I want to do. The same for you is to start looking into this.
So the point of a profit and loss statement, commonly referred to as a P&L, is to assess your business in a period of time. The whole point of your P&L is to help you make business decisions as you go. But there's so much like sweet stuff in the details.
And I know on my end, I have multiple bank accounts after reading Michael McCallowitz's Profit First. And I know that I'm making money. It's when the student's ready, the teacher will appear.
And when we pull this together, we look at every month individually, and we look at the total year numbers. AA and AB, these are the total dollars, and these are the percentages. It helps us understand the relationship between two things. So I've got some targets here that we shoot for, and this is primarily a window cleaning business. If you're interior home cleaning, your targets will be a little bit different. I'm going to start right at the top here and kind of differentiate between these two buckets of sales. But it's like, I'll wait till later to figure that out.
Well, basically, you can plug your bank accounts into your QuickBooks, or you can hire a bookkeeper. Dan has Blue Sky Services, and if you have a business credit card, so all the money that's coming in and out of your business, this hooks up to that.
You still had to buy the supplies to go clean that thing, and so on down the list, whether that customer ever pays you or not. Or if they wait 2 months, then you're like stuck holding the bag, right? But that doesn't have a bearing on whether you operated well or not, whether your guys were productive in the field or not. One is how much cash we collected. The other is how much work we actually did. So now I mentioned earlier, each of these cost buckets that come next are super intentional, and they all have something to do with a decision that you make. And it's like a bucket of decisions. And it's just way easier to look at this in defined small buckets rather than try to assess a whole bunch of line items. And if we see that one of those types of decisions is consistently wrong, that pinpoints us right to where we got to go to save some money and solve some business problems.
So what he's saying is you can see directly what's going on in the business each month with a profit and loss statement. And oh my God, you could see like that's the percentage of net profit I'm actually making after going out there busting my ass doing all this work. I'm only making that much. So that directly says I need to raise the prices. And this is an exact justification, because we have all these reasons why. Or I really like Miss Jones. She's been with me for 7 years and I can't raise the price on her.
We all should be raising our prices probably more than we do.
I just had one other quick distinction. What is that racking up to at the end of the month?
So COGS is kind of like the accounting nomenclature, but it's really like the cost of the sale, the cost of the service. Basically meaning every time we go out to do a job, we're for sure going to spend money on this and this and this and this and this. Or another way to look at it is like you can tie those costs directly to that job. Any other like bonuses or anything, commission type of stuff paying to that labor, subcontractors. The next bucket would be supplies and material costs, all things that get consumed at the job, whether it's a pressure washer, the chlorine to soft wash something, the squeegee, the lawnmower, whatever it is. Those types of expenses are getting used up in the field. So we're going to call that cost of goods sold. So it's super natural for us to know if people are being productive out in the field or not. Admin.
What's a good healthy percentage of labor what it should not go over in a percentage before you move
very
forward?
Much depends on the industry.
Yeah.
I'd say if you're in the 30 to 35% range in like the window cleaning space, all in, that's with all the wages and the workers' comp and everything, that would be an acceptable total cost of labor for window cleaning. So the next bucket down, the admin bucket, is kind of the opposite of COGS in that if we're good at managing COGS, most of us are terrible at managing admin because we can't tell if the administrative person is being efficient. And in my experience, they will for sure. And so it's a little bit harder to hold them accountable. We've got too much administrative support. And admin is tricky because there's only two ways to solve an admin problem. But then if they're not that good, they're not growing your business, and then they're still there and you're not growing. It's whatever things you use to help get your clients in the door so that you can put a real person on them to try to sell them. And that real person would be admin, and everything before that would be marketing. There is no like right answer. Really want to go. If you're doing the latter, it just probably means you're eating ramen for a longer period of time and you're going to try to grow really fast, but growth is expensive and you don't make a lot of money when you're growing really fast. And that's okay. It's just an investment and it'll pay off eventually. But that marketing spend, that investment is just super dependent on how aggressive you want to be. We use 15% as a good target to shoot for. You can see last year, we only spent 11.8%. And part of that was, for a small part of the year, we just didn't have the guys to send out to do the work. So we're going to pare it back just because nobody's listening to it anyway. So our acquisition cost gets out of control. So we're going to spend less money in dead months for us. It's just the stuff that you need to make your business work behind the scenes. If I get to take 20% of the money that we make home, that means if I go sell $1,000 job, I make $200, right?
Mm-hmm.
The flip side of that logic.
If there's anything that you didn't understand, I implore you to just rewind, go back and listen to what Dan said a few times and look at the numbers and think about it and how it relates to you, to your business. Because every single one of these categories is it's like an entire profession in and of itself. I mean, he literally has ran tons of businesses, but I do want to say that, and I'm going to get back to what you were saying. This, but like, how do you figure that thing out? It's actually breaking this stuff down on such a granular level. So I had this idea of breaking things on such a granular level, and we don't have the time for that here. But
we'll have to do another video after we break it down on that granular level. The only reason I ended up getting an accounting degree was because I was so pissed that I wasn't very good at it. So if you spend $200, you got to go get $1,000 worth of revenue. Okay, if I spend these $5, I got to go 5x this thing in revenue. I got to go make $25 in revenue because I spent this $5 on this thing. And some things you'd be like, oh yeah, easily. And some things you'd be like, yeah. And so this is where I see P&Ls go sideways a lot of times, is because we think we need things. And it's two different buckets here. There's variable and fixed. And it's ops for operations, but it's really just overhead, operating overhead. Fixed and variable. Fixed cost are ones that you think about proactively. I should highlight fixed costs while I'm talking about them. Fixed costs are ones that you think about proactively. They're ones where you make a decision and you live with it for a point in time and you like negotiate or contract something, and then that price is locked in. Things like rent, insurance. So they're highly volatile, highly variable, and they're always reactive. Those would be things like meals and entertainment, recruiting, travel, education and events, employee engagement stuff. They'll always just help you think through those things. Like I said, those overhead expenses are usually where I see P&Ls get sideways because we just ignore them.
Thank you, Dan Platta from Blue Skies Services. And more than just Dan Platta, dude.